What's going on, everyone? Connor and Shane back with another video. This is going to be part two to the last video I just dropped yesterday. So this is going to be another three very high conviction altcoin gems for this coming bull run. And so in the last video, I talked about Olas. Auto Nolas is a huge one for me. Tectum, covered it on the channel for a while. Tectum's a gem of mine for it's been a gem for a long time. And then I covered IXS, which is IX swap. That one's going to be a huge RWA narrative play, and I still think it's very undervalued. So today I'm going to give you guys three more as well, and I'll tell you the narratives and price targets. So let's get into it here. And so number one, I'm going to start with another RWA coin because RWAs, they're going to be one of my biggest narratives going into this bull run. If this is the first time seeing me, or if this is your first time seeing me, welcome to the channel. And I talk about RWA coins a lot, which is real world assets, which has to do with, when institutions are going to come into crypto, they are going to be looking for real projects, as in projects that can give them a lot more safe and real utility coming into crypto, because they're not going to just jump onto any project. They're going to want some regulated stuff and some stuff to deal with big money backed by real world assets, literally like real estate and businesses, to you name it. There's so many things going on in the RWA sector. And because this bull run is going to be driven heavily by institutional investors, and that's why I'm so fond of the RWA sector, because I think that's going to be where most of the volume's coming. And again, let's just get into it now. So the first one is RWA. So this is Revest Finance. I have dropped a video. I dropped a video on this. I was going to say I'll drop it above. But if I can find it, I'll drop it above. But if not, I think Revest is going to be an absolute powerhouse of a play, especially sitting at 23 million in market cap right now. And so before I do anything, talk about this one specifically, guys, the market, in my opinion, still has a lot of downside potentially to come. The ETF just happened. ETF was just approved. It was a big, nice little a nice bull trap coming right back in. And so now we got a lot of downside, but I think over the next 3 or 4 months, not even, maybe the next 2 months, 3 months, there could be a lot of downside for Bitcoin to be coming. It could go down from, why don't I just pull a Bitcoin here? It's down 7% today. I think it was down upwards of 8 or 9 also earlier. But just it's sitting, what is it at right now? So it's at 43 almost. There's a lot of people projecting Bitcoin to be going all the way down to like 30K, which in my opinion, unless there is some major, price swing, liquidations, I don't think it's going to go that low. I think it's going to probably dump into the mid 30s. That's my guess. Because like I said, I've been saying on the channel for a while, if you've been watching me for a while now, is I firmly believed that there's going to be downside, and I feel like I'm finally right on that, because I've tried to predict the top so many times, but I just didn't realize the ETF I should have assumed would have been the top, but the ETF has been approved, some downside, but I expect downside now for the next month or two. And it's some sort of correction. Again, I don't see it coming down under like 30K. But I could see in between 32K to like 36K range would be some of its lowest points, before like consolidating again and then bouncing. And I think once we hit a target like that, guys, that's over. That's going to be probably the last time you can ever buy crypto. You can buy any single asset when Bitcoin is that low in the next 2 months. It'll be your best time to enter the crypto market in the entire bull run, I think. Aside from if you got down in a lot of projects here, like we did on the channel, This next major pullback is going to be the golden entry for easy 10, 20, 30, 40 X's for the rest of the year into 2025. So just wanted to throw that out there. So be cautious, especially because I'm going to talk about these coins. Do not just buy them because I'm talking about them right now. At current levels, some of these look good. Some of them are very overextended. But I'll give you guys entries and exits as well. But so the first one is Revest Finance here. So this one, like I just said, I just talked about it. But they are focusing on a lot of tokenization just across the board with financials for institutions. Like I said, they got a lot going on. A ton of really good partnerships too recently they've got. But bottom line, it's going to be a huge powerhouse of a RWA play. You guys can do more research on it. Like, I'm not going to be diving into the project and the in-depth stuff like that, but as far as for an entry, in my opinion, this has come down significantly from its highs. I think it hit 46 cents. That was like its peak. But you know what? I think a golden entry for Revest is going to be, I'd say, in between 15 to 20, upwards of 25, not even 25 cents, but I'd say around 20 cents would be, I think, a very solid entry if it can dip more. Again, that's if Bitcoin is going to take a dump even further than, where it is right now, which I expect. So I do expect this entry target to be hit. But from 20 cents, my guess is that's going to put it right around maybe 15 million market cap. So let's say from like 15 million market cap, my price prediction for Revest on a very conservative level is around 600 million in market cap. And now that might seem, to a lot of people, that might seem very low. But you guys have to understand is like, I'm not a moon boy out here. I'm not going to tell you that half these coins are going to 95 billion or, this next layer one is going to overtake Solana. Like, I'm not going to tell you guys any BS like that. Like, in reality, like, I do think the RWA sector is going to be massive. But since it's a newer narrative, especially for the cycle, there's really no telling in how big it can get. But from what I see in most of the projects in it now, I think this whole sector has a minimum of another 5 to 10x to go, if not more than that, especially if institutions really start jumping on adoption, just coming into like crypto in the next 6 months, and they're all really trying to get allocated into crypto heavy and, not just Bitcoin and exposure. But so with that said, I think from current levels, even let's say this is at 30 cents, hold on. I made a chart today. Give me 1 second here. I'm actually going to pull it up. So I got like very detailed targets and entries and exits and Revest here. Yeah, so right around there. Yeah, so for Revest, my target is actually going to be around $9. So, and with $9, like I said, that would put it around 600 million market cap, somewhere around that realm. But with a project like Revest, as long as they continue to build and continue to get exposure, seeing this anywhere above $5, $6, $7, $8, I think is going to be a very, very easy target to hit. And I mean that just from like current levels here, that would put it, if it's at 30 cents to $9, that would be around a 30x, which I think long term, again, that would be great. I think that's an insane return. This is one of my top projects in the RWA sector, aside from IXS. I think this one's going to do unbelievable this run. But like I said too, if this can get down even lower, if this can get to 20 cents, that's going to be upwards of a 40x plus. And again, I'm trying to keep this very conservative, like, and honestly, that sounds like it's kind of ridiculous. Like this is going to do a 40x. Like, Like, honestly, in my opinion, yeah, I do. I believe that RWA coins across the board are going to skyrocket. At some point in the next, I'd say 6 to 8 months, they're going to have their moment. They're going to absolutely fly. So Revest, again, on a dip, it can do more than a 30x, but from here, like, that's kind of what I'm going for with Revest here. So I'd say that's pretty conservative, but also at the same time a very safe bet in my opinion. So that's gonna be number one here. And number two. So this is another one that I've talked about on the channel multiple times as well. This one's a classic. We got Ori Chain. Ori Chain. Now Ori Chain has got they've got a lot under the hood. Again, I'm not going to go into detail here. If I can find this video, I'll post it above talking about Ori when I talked about it before. But Ori itself sitting at around 100 million in market cap. You know, it's already had a nice little run. Nice 2, 3, 4x run from, I guess, kind of before the last couple months. But I think if this can hit some sort of dip as well, if this can get to like 75 million, let me see what my target is here. It's like I wrote very in-depth stuff here. I want to try to yeah, oh, okay. So for Ori Chain, so I put around 1 billion as a fairly conservative target, which at current levels here, that would put this at a easy minuscule 10x. But I want you guys to understand too is that, again, I'm not going to be a moon boy out here. I'm not going to tell you that half these coins are going to do 300x's, nothing like that. Like, from current levels, a very safe and conservative bet is going to be 1 billion. Now, could Ori actually hit way higher than that? In my opinion, yes, because this is actually a layer 1, an AI-based layer 1. And I think if, obviously AI is going to have a huge run as well, but I think if people can start realizing the value in Ori Chain and how, how much, like, how much they got going on in their ecosystem as a layer 1, I think it could go 2 or 3 times my price prediction. This could go to multiple billions, but again, I'm trying to be very conservative here because I want everyone to just get safe returns on any sort of investment that they're going to make. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your research. Check Ori Chain out yourself. Look into their ecosystem, everything they're building. Their infrastructure is crazy. And they have a great team going on. But yeah, I think at least a 10x. Again, I would not be surprised to see a 15x, 20x. And especially if this can dip to, even like 75 million, I could see an easy 15x or more, So that's going to be my target for Ori Chain. I think, like I said, probably the easiest 10x. And same with Revest. Minimum 10x's across the board is going to be nothing, I think, for any and all altcoins. But again, keep in mind that Bitcoin and pretty much all these altcoins, I feel like, need to have some sort of major retracement over the next month or two. So this is only going to give way more opportunity to everybody and anyone. So keep that in mind, especially if you're thinking about allocating today or tomorrow. What I do is if you really want to allocate, but you're just not sure, allocate literally half of your position, because that's going to give you the leverage to say, you know what, I'm buying now. If price continues to go up over the next 2 months, you know what, I still have exposure. I could still make some gains. But also, if it does dump and continue to dump, one, you still have some sort of exposure to it. It might not be that much, but as it continues to go down, you can reallocate the second half of that position into the same coin at a better entry. Bottom line. So that's what I usually do and what I say. If you're very unsure of allocating, bottom line, just DCA safely into these coins, and DCA a chunk. safe enough in which you're not going to really think about, price. Like if you throw, say you throw 5, 10, a crazy amount of money in, like 5,000, 10,000, if that's like your average investment, if you can't go to sleep at night because you're thinking about, well, what if it dumps 8% tomorrow? Like, bro, you're over allocated in it. Just take a chunk out until it's gonna be small enough of amount of money for you to be like thinking that, okay, if I'm gonna go to sleep tonight, I'm not gonna think about the price action over the next day, the next week, the next month. It doesn't matter. Just take a chunk out until your mind is at ease. That's a huge thing. Because I know myself, I do that all the time. Sometimes I'll heavily over allocate into a coin, and I contemplate for hours. I'm like, nah, this is a good buy. This is a good buy. Like, even if it retraces, like, bro, just hold. But no, just when you allocate, just make sure it's small enough and just not too big. Bottom line. So that was number 2, Alright Chain. I know I'm just rambling right now. And so number 3, so we can cut this video pretty quick. This one I've talked about on the channel a couple times as well. So Rocket Exchange, this is a very, I think, just a goated project in my opinion. What Rocket Exchange is this is, excuse me, this is like a full out cross chain DEX. As in you can use a lot of different wallets and you can just trade across different chains, pretty seamlessly. Rocket Exchange has been around now for a little while. They're constantly updating, constantly, adding new chains, new different whatever. Yeah, like I said, chains to the platform. It's very smooth. I do use this, and I think it's just overall a great project. Because we had projects like Uniswap in the last cycle. Obviously, DEXs were brand new in the last cycle, but Uniswap, like, even this is kind of what Uniswap did. It didn't look like this at all, but it had a pump. Like, it came out. There were a lot of airdrops. I actually got a Uniswap airdrop, which is pretty cool back then. But then it came up. It had a little dump, and it continued sideways. But when it was continuing sideways like this before it actually started its run, it was already sitting at, I think, in between 200 million to 500 million in market cap. And then from that bottom, it ended up running from there to over, I don't know how many billion, in between 20 to 50 billion in market cap just for Uniswap alone. And the reason why I say that is because even right now, with RVF sitting at 73 million, even on the chart, it looks like it's at a peak. This is still not even a third as big as where Uniswap was sitting when it was bottomed out. And I think the tech behind Rocket Exchange, just for the cross-chain aspect that anyone and everyone is going to be looking for a way to bridge BNB into their ETH wallet or Bitcoin into, ETH. Like, there's going to be people that are going to need that. I think it's a necessity and it's going to be one of the most used probably projects in the entire space within 6 to 12 months, especially if it can get more hype. And I think it already is fairly hype for what it is, but I think this one's just going to be massive. I do like just the simplicity of these DEXs, but obviously there's so many DEXs out there. Rocket Exchange is not the only one. There's legitimately probably 5 to 10, and it's not just a DEX. Like I said, this one's cross-chain in comparison to just, a DEX on one single chain like Uniswap used to be, or what PancakeSwap is. It's way more than that, and RVF I think's got a ton of room to grow. And for my price target here, what did I put for RVF? Yeah, so for RVF I put $20, which would make this would sit around 2 billion in market cap. And that's, in my opinion, that's fairly conservative as well. And the reason why is basically what I just said, how Uniswap at its peak had at almost 10 times more in market cap, if not more. I could be completely wrong. And again, why am I not looking it up? I'm talking about it, but I'm not looking it up. But yeah, for 2 billion for Uniswap to hit, I feel like it's very conservative. So let's see what Uniswap had. Yeah, so it did have around 20 billion at its peak. So to think that RVF having way better tech to be used across way more chains to only achieve 1/10 of what Uniswap did at its peak, I think it's going to be a piece of cake. That's going to be very easy. And I feel like that's fairly conservative. Even though there are going to be so many dexes, so many cross-chain swaps in the bull run right now, but I think RVF has just stood the time that it's been out right now, and I feel like it's got some sort of network effect around it. A lot of people know about it. A lot of people use it. It's just, and the ease of use for it, I think, is perfect. I think just investing in this one long term, you can't lose, just because of how useful that it actually is. Like anyone in crypto could use this and will use it. But again, the only thing that I stress over is just it is literally close to like just up only. It has been up only for so long. Like I want to wait for a heavy correction, but again, Bitcoin is going to tell. It's going to be the telltale sign over the next, 2 to 3 months. If this does drop significantly, this can provide even more than like I think it would be a 10, no, not a 10x, about a 20, 25 to, yeah, 25x, I think, from right around current levels in market cap. If this can dip to 50x, this would be upwards of if this dips to around 50 million in market cap or 50 cents in price, yeah, this could be upwards of like a 30 to 40x in my opinion at a safe target. And again, all these targets are aiming for 2025, or you don't even have to time it like that. It's just it depends on when everything decides to absolutely moon, and I feel like it's going to be probably September, October, and November this year. I give it legitimately like 9 months from now, maybe 8 months. Um, and yeah, I do believe that a lot of these are going to go nuts. And so as far as right now, those are the three. This is part two, and these are the three very high conviction gems that I've seen over the last few months that I think have great use cases, great utility, or just will pick up narrative wise and hype wise. And these are the most low risk projects as well, in my opinion. That can easily just do very, very huge returns, way bigger returns than you're gonna get holding Bitcoin or Ethereum. At current levels, even Solana. If you got into Solana very low, Solana actually could have made you a literal 100x. If you got in around, what, $10, anything under like even $12, I think you're going to pull in 100x on Solana. I think it's probably going to go to a minimum at least a few hundred. I mean, I know it's already at 100 already, but just at current levels, Solana to hit $1,000, doing a 10x from where it's at. I think with the network effect that it's got right now and the hype, I think it could hit $1,000. If you got into Solana under $10, bro, just hold it until the end of the bull run. I'm telling you. But bottom line, like again, these are the three gems. That's all I got for you guys today. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next one.